In today's episode, we are going to be talking about when it's time to leave a relationship or just unrequited relationships, meaning their actions just aren't aligning with how you're treating them. Just as the title says, your happiness should be prioritized over any relationship. If the relationship is starting to take a toll on your mental health or just your overall wellness, then that's when you know it's time to wrap it up. Even if it's not affecting you mentally, if it's something that you wouldn't want somebody else to go through, like if you're just like, if you refuse to see when someone is doing you wrong, then put somebody else in your shoes. And if you wouldn't appreciate what's going on with them, if you wouldn't appreciate how they're being treated, then you know it's time to wrap it up. The first thing first is not to jump to conclusions. You communicate your concerns before coming to a conclusion on what's happening, why something is happening. Things aren't always happening out of just blatant disrespect. Sometimes people have things going on, which is why I say address your concerns. Here's the thing, if you address your concerns and then it continues to go on, then that is not a relationship that you should be in. And when I say relationship, I'm not just speaking romantically, I'm not just speaking platonically, I'm speaking on both. It applies to all connections, really. All connections. So, yeah, if you address your concerns, address how you're feeling, and then they continue to go on about it, leave the relationship. It's no point of staying there. They don't respect you enough to change, or they don't care enough to change. And maybe they just don't have it in them to change. But I just feel like it is not your job to stick around and help them figure it out. Like, don't, it's just not your job. You don't need to be the superhero of their life. Don't have that savior complex. I mean, I feel like a savior complex can be good in certain scenarios, but when that savior complex is draining you, when that savior complex is draining you, I don't feel that there's any point in staying anymore. It's I don't even think it's like a feeling, it's a fact. You shouldn't put yourself in that situation. Again, back to communication. Listen, like I said, unless it is blatant disrespect and you just know this person is just like they just don't care, address your concerns. And even if you just genuinely think this person doesn't care, if it just happened out of the blue, I really do feel in most cases, not most actually, in 50% of cases, I feel like it's very important to address your concerns. Yeah, just communication is such like a big factor. Studies show that miscommunication is actually the number one root of issues in any type of relationship. That's why I'm like just really big on this whole address your concerns, address your feelings to them. So yeah, if you address your feelings and then they continue to do the same thing afterwards, there's no need for them to be in your life. However, if they change, then make sure they uphold that, because some people will change for a little bit of time and then they'll result back to their old ways. And you shouldn't keep yourself in that type of situation. Not at all. So now that you communicated, before we even move on, I know communication is not a lot of people's strong point, and I feel like there's a few ways to kind of deal with it. First of all, when you're communicating, I don't feel like any issues really. I was going to say big issues, but any issues at all, because small issues can lead to big issues. I do not feel like they should be discussed over text. Like, especially, I actually feel like they all should be discussed in person. But if you have to call, you have to call. At least then you can hear that person's tone, etc. You just hearing their voice, hearing how everything is coming across, genuinely how things are actually being conveyed. It's very important. A lot of things happen over text. People think that someone is coming across one way when that actually was not their intentions at all. So to hear it in person or over the phone, I feel would help with a lot of arguments. It would help prevent a lot of arguments. So then, if you're too timid to like communicate with somebody, I feel that if you're not comfortable communicating, here's the thing: ask yourself, are you not comfortable communicating in general, or is it just with this person? And if it's like just with certain people, then you need to figure out why, and like figure out if these are people that you want to keep in your life. Most of the time people don't want to communicate anymore because something has happened, they were misunderstood, or you have people who are angry at them for addressing how they feel. And that's not the type of person that you want in your life. I'm not saying cut them off. I'm not going to say that because it's just a lot of generational cycles. I'm not going to say cut them off if that's like the only issue. I'm not going to say that. I mean, personally, I don't really want those type of people in my life. I would, however, say keep them on a leash. I should probably elaborate. What I mean is loving from a distance. Um, just keep that in mind. But yeah, so if it's specific to that person, do what I just said. However, if this is an overall issue, then you need to like figure out why you don't, why it's hard for you to communicate. I don't think that you have to go to a therapist. I think therapy is great, but for some stuff, I think you can do a good bit of work by yourself, getting into shadow work and whatnot. Why can't you communicate? And once you work on that a little bit, you don't have to take big steps, but taking baby steps to communicate and let address your issues. But like, if these issues continue going on for months and months, I don't feel like you should stay, even if it is a mental, it is something going on with that person. I just don't feel like you should stay with this person if you know that this person is treating you wrong, and this is going on for even like 2+ weeks. Unless you, I don't feel like you should continue involving yourself with that person. And there's different variables and factors to consider when it comes to this. I think there's some exceptions, but the bottom line is when someone's consistently doing something, um, consistently mistreating you, you shouldn't stay. Even for the people who struggle with miscommunication, I feel like when someone's like constantly disrespecting you, a certain type of disrespect, because there are some type of disrespects that are like personal to that person, and the other person may not know or realize that they are hurting somebody. It's just the things that are embedded into them, which is once again why communication is so important. However, there are other times where the disrespect is just so loud that they know what they're doing, and you shouldn't continue to stick around for it. But yet, if you aren't going to communicate and let people know these concerns so that you can see if they're going to like change or stick to the same things, I that is not what this episode is about. But I am going to tell you once again, figure out the root, and yeah, figure out the root. Figure out why it is. It's like different for a lot of people, and there are people that have the same reason of why they won't communicate, but ultimately it comes from you communicating in the past and then something happening which keeps you from not wanting to do it anymore. Again, that's the shadow work for you to do yourself, but I will go over some options. For me, I can be like that too with certain people. I just don't want to like communicate. It's too hard for me, and it's easier for me to do it over text. For me to do it over text, but like once again, I said it's a very big. I think it's a very big no-no to communicate over text due to the fact that messages can be interpreted any way. It depends on the interpreter to interpret it in a way at which is how the person communicating wanted it to be interpreted, and that's not just everybody isn't on the same wavelength, so everybody's not going to everybody's not going to read it the same, which is why if I just have to communicate over text, I address in each little section, okay, this is how I'm actually feeling. Like, I'm not mad or anything like that. I address that. And so if that's what you really have to resort to that. But again, ultimately figure out the root so that you can communicate and figure out if it's just like blatant disrespect or like they're not realizing it and this could really be something that's fixed. Um, I don't feel like I just feel like that's so sucky if a relationship got thrown away and they're not aware of what they're doing or like what they're doing is making you feel and they would have fixed it, but you weren't, you didn't communicate with them. So now the relationship is gone. Again, like the episode name, prioritize your wellness, prioritize your happiness over the relationship. And I know that that might turn a lot of heads, but that's the way it is. Those that friendship should not come before your own wellness. That that boyfriend or girlfriend of yours should not come before your own wellness. This is what this is going to lead me into my third point. A lot of you guys know that it's taking a toll on your wellness, on your happiness, but you continue to stay. And I'm going to tell you this: nobody can make you leave but yourself. You have to have it in your own. I mean, you always have it in your willpower. It's always in your willpower to do it, but you have to be the one to leave. No one, no matter what I say, ultimately, it's up to you. Ultimately, it's up to you to leave that relationship, okay? And I'm not gonna like be like, oh, it's so easy because I myself have stayed in a situation that I shouldn't have stayed in. Um, and I'm going to list a few things that have helped me and just some things overall that can probably help you with leaving the relationship. Number one, these are not in any particular order. Okay, number one, I would just ask myself, if you were to have a child in the future, would you want that future child enduring the same thing? Like, would you want them to just continue to stay in that relationship, being disrespected the way that you're being disrespected? All these things that I'm going to list played a very big factor. I mean, I did not leave immediately. It took a little minute, but all these things played a very big factor into it. So yeah, I would ask myself, would I want that child to endure it? And if you already have a child, I mean, would you want your child to endure it? Second thing, this is just like along the same lines. Think of a person that, even your younger self, like just think of someone that you deeply care for and ask yourself if you would want them to go through that same thing. Would you be okay with it? I mean, this could be your friend, this could be your sibling, this, this could be whoever. I don't know. This could be whoever. This could be your parent, whatever. Would you want them to endure the same thing? And then consider that. Second thing, a really big thing. List out your like how your dream friend or dream boyfriend, dream girlfriend would treat you, dream husband, dream wife, whatever, how they would treat you. 9 times out of 10, the behavior they are showing towards you does not fit. It just doesn't fit the list, okay? It doesn't fit the list. I mean, I'm just gonna like put out a random scenario. Are you wanting these people on your list? Are you like wanting these people to get angry at you every time you have a disagreement? That would not be on the list. And I agree, there are some things in any type of relationship that come to a compromisation, but somebody getting angry at you over any type of disagreement, is that really something that you want to go through? Would you put that on the list? Things that I'm okay with going through, like, would you? Things that I'm okay with compromising? No, it should not be on there. Someone getting angry at you every single time over a disagreement, that's going to play a toll on your happiness. And if you're going to put it on the list, that you'd be okay with going with someone getting mad at you after every single disagreement, then you might as well write on the list of things that you're okay with compromising happiness. And if you put your happiness under things that you're okay with compromising, then you really, I mean, sometimes the only way for somebody to help themselves is to just go through absolute crap in order to realize. And on that note, let's talk about the fact that you come first. I mean, that is the whole theme of the episode, but yeah, like, you come first. You come first. As soon as you're compromising yourself, that relationship, to me, it really isn't worth it. I think there are very few instances where this person genuinely may have something going on with them and, like, okay, let them figure this out and come back and regroup. But when it's not under those few circumstances, you compromising yourself is exactly what these people want, especially if you've communicated these things and they're continuing to do it. They really don't care about you. Some people are genuinely just like, they don't care about you. Some people genuinely don't care about you, and some people genuinely just love the fact that you're just willing to put up with any of their stuff. And I'm not even over exaggerating. I had a conversation with a group of guys, and they were talking about relationships, and some of them genuinely just love the fact that some people genuinely just don't care about themselves. Some of that genuinely love that. I don't know. Maybe I should insert an evil laugh right here. That's the only way I know how to describe it. That's just them. Well, it's not them, it's their hurt, but nonetheless, it's true. So yeah, don't compromise yourself. Don't compromise yourself. And the thing is, a lot of people stay in a relationship because they're getting something out of this relationship that they don't get when they're alone. I mean, some people, some people just don't like to be alone, and that means you're not having to be in solitude anymore, which is what you're getting out of the relationship. Um, yeah, and for others, it's different. But the thing is, my point is, figure out what's keeping you in the relationship, and then give it to you yourself. I feel like what you look for in a relationship is what you really look for in yourself. List out the treatment from your dream partner, your dream friendship, whatever, and then I feel like this is even other people have even talked about this, but once you look at those qualities, ask yourself, isn't this what you've been craving for from yourself? With some people who just like don't want to be alone, they really want their own selves. They don't have an actual, relationship with themselves. They don't listen to their own feelings. I mean, they pour their problems out to other people, but they don't even pour their problems out to themselves. And spoiler alert, going to have an episode on this. You need to have you need to have these relationships with yourself. You need to have these relationships with yourself before you have these relationships with anybody else. And I mean, of course, you can form these relationships with yourself while in a relationship of any kind with anyone else. But yeah, it's very important to have, I think, for a relationship to truly thrive, you have to have these relationships with yourself first. You have to have them with yourself first. There are a lot of reasons that someone could be staying in a relationship. And I actually take back what I said earlier. Some of the traits that you want in a partner in a friendship aren't just traits that like you. They're not just things that you want to give your own self, but like aren't doing. They're also childhood wounds, and they can stem back to parental issues, which is why I said that you need to do the shadow work. You need to do the shadow work and figure out what the root cause is. Figure out what the root cause is and then work on it, change from it, learn from it. Again, all in all, if you are struggling to leave the relationship, you need to figure out what they are giving you that is so precious to compromise your own happiness. whether these be something that you're not giving yourself or something that your parents didn't give you, something that your siblings didn't give you. And I don't just mean give, I mean, like, could be relating to how any of these people from your coming up acted towards you or didn't act towards you. It's a lot of factors. This episode applies to men and women, as do all of my episodes. But I know a lot of males struggle to cry, which is actually not just the fact that it's like you shouldn't. You should definitely like feel your emotions, and without that just being a fact, it's psychological. It's a very, it's like psychologically draining on yourself when you hold your emotions in it. And that's just something to consider. I think the strongest people are the ones who allow themselves to feel. So just reiterating, figure out what it is that's keeping you there. And finally, realize you are enough. You are enough to give those feelings to yourself. You are enough to heal from whatever wound it is. You don't need them to give you that feeling. You don't need them. There is someone better than them. There's someone better than them out there. There is someone better than them out there, and they are just probably, you guys won't be able to really align and match up. You won't be able to really, align and match up with that person until you figure out what's going on within. And finally, you will be able to find people who match you without. And this is not just like mumbo jumbo. These are actually scientifically proven to be true. I feel like with a lot of true things, I know a lot of true things. I see it with my own eyes. What a lot of true things, people say it's mumbo jumbo, but it's actually scientifically true, and you can look it up. It was Newton who said, for every action, his third law of motion, by the way, I think they teach us in like 7th and 8th grade. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And there's a lot of scientists who dabble into this. Like, I'm so serious, y'all. It's so like scientific. But yeah, once you get to a certain place, this is factual. You're attracting these people because it's a part of your subconscious mind that needs to be worked on. It's not even just like subconscious, it's your consciousness. And it needs to be worked on. Once you do the inner work, you will find the people that'll treat you how you deserve to be treated. But another thing is, some people find these relationships because that's how they feel they feel they deserve to be treated this way. Yeah. So ultimately, all in all, I don't think that it's just going to be the everybody's just going to leave these relationships in an instant. I know that it takes a little bit of commanding yourself. I know it takes a little bit of commanding, but I know that you all are capable of doing it. So just figure out what the root is. Figure out what they're giving you, why what they're giving you means so much to you, and you heal from the wound at which relates to why you want it so much. And give that feeling to yourself. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Like, I know that sounds so nonchalant, but give that feeling to yourself. I really, really want you guys to listen to this and truly apply what I'm saying. I can lead you to a lot of water. I can lead you to water. I can lead you to water. I can't make you drink it. You are so dehydrated, and I want you to drink the water. And I'm sure you want the water too, but you have to make yourself drink the water. I can't make you drink the water. Again, I can, however, lead you to it. This podcast is a place to help people do exactly that, better themselves, level themselves up, level themselves up. Yeah, in order to be changed without, there has to be change within. Start in the mirror. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you take something from it.